gamma ray detector is the topic for today, and we can actually divide the gamma ray into two broad classes. And the first class is in order to determine its intensity, okay, or whether a gamma ray is present or not. We can actually get a spectrogram, okay, a spectrograph rather. So basically we use something like spectrometer or photometer, and this is also used in optical astronomy. Chances are that if you are focusing on the sky, okay, on the outer atmosphere, the chances are that there might be gamma rays present, okay, so focused in the sky in the region of interest. So even if there is a nuclear power plant, let's say, and we are uh, testing the region on top of that nuclear power plant, the chances are there would be some gamma rays, okay. And in case of leakage and all, like Chernobyl disaster and all those nuclear disaster that actually happened, the detection of these gamma rays were also important to know that how harmful were those radiations at a particular point of time, okay, to the inhabitants living nearby, okay. So basically these detectors use scintillators. So scintillator is something which you already know. We have also studied a bit about it, okay. So these detectors basically use scintillators, or they use solid state detectors, okay, solid state detector. So this is a broad classification. Under this solid state detector there are different kinds of detector. And why we need this detector? Because they will basically change the signal from, let's say, gamma ray, okay, into a readable signal, right? Transform gamma ray into optical or electronic signal, into optical or electronic signal, or electronic signal. So you might have gamma ray, you cannot see them. As soon as they hit the scintillation screen, they will actually give out some kind of radiation or some kind of light, and that is nothing but an optical signal. So into an optical, and if you want to have an electronic signal, you basically use a solid state detector, okay, and then you can actually record it. So which are then recorded. So this is one kind of detector, and another is something which we call as the gamma ray imaging. So just like you have the photographic plates, okay, you can also have something on gamma ray imaging. It depends on the nature of the gamma ray. By nature I mean that, you know, there are chances that the gamma ray also will have different intensity, the type of interaction that they will have, okay, on the material which is used for the detectors, okay. So it basically depends on the nature of gamma ray interaction process. Let's say like pair production, okay. So sometimes it does happen that when the gamma ray will interact, it will basically result in the rise of pair production. So you can have two different particles getting formed, and from there we can detect that yes, there was a gamma ray based on which we actually had this pair production, okay. So that is why these are important, okay. So so this is how gamma rays are detected, okay. But then some more basics about gamma ray is also important, okay. So let's just talk a bit about gamma rays here, okay. So you know, whenever we are talking about anything on the electromagnetic spectrum, we are more or less talking about photons, okay. So they are basically made of photons, okay. We already know it. And you know, the energy plays a very important role. Energy greater than visible light, right? The energy is always greater than visible light, and that means if we just consider it in terms of the energy scale, it will be around 100 to 1000 tetra electron volt, okay. So it will be tera electron volt, sorry, okay. So that will be around that range, okay. And you know, visible light is much lesser, it's around 10-20, okay, electron volts, okay. So that is there. And in general, even if we don't consider the detectors, okay, they are sophisticated detectors. In general, they are detected by observing, okay, effects on in matter, observing effects in matter. So from the basic idea of nuclear physics, we know that gamma rays are most penetrating for the simple reason they have got greater energy. So if you're going into any kind of nuclear site, and if there are too much gamma ray, the chances are that this gamma ray will penetrate and basically affect your cells and damage your tissues. Okay, but what happens is, if you consider something like alpha ray, although their penetration power is less, their mass is more, so the chance of damaging your tissues by alpha ray or beta ray is much more compared to gamma ray. Okay, sometimes the gamma ray has so much energy that they might not even interact, just pass through. So it depends on energy as well as mass. There is always a fine balance. So the most danger that is being caused to humans from nuclear sites is actually the alpha ray, because of their mass, because they can damage the cell easily. Okay, so if gamma ray basically interacts with matter, okay, we basically have a lot of processes happening. Okay, so process when gamma ray interact. So what are some of the processes? So I think we have already discussed about Compton effect. So gamma ray can give rise to Compton effect. Okay, chances are there, and then they can also give rise to photoelectric ionization. If something can cause ionization, obviously it has got a greater energy because it has the capacity of dislodging the electron, right? And then finally pair production. So pair production is one of the phenomenon which is basically used when we talk about gamma ray imaging. Okay, so that is there. So this interaction will basically cause a generation of electric current. Okay, so this is important. So these interaction cause generation of electric current. So we will basically get a signal in the form of electric current, and that will be nothing but which will actually give you that current. Okay. Okay. Next topic on gamma ray is focusing. Okay. So there is something which is again important, focusing the gamma rays. So how do you really focus it? Okay, because there are certain factors based on which you have to focus the gamma rays. If you consider something like electrons or protons, which are charged particle, focusing is by an electric or magnetic field. Okay, so we can actually also concentrate on focusing the gamma rays. Okay, so in general, if you consider something like a visible light, okay, visible light focused by lenses or mirrors, right? So most of the times I prefer taking analogy to something which is more realizable, right? Something like when we talk about, let's say, SEM or TEM, I compare it with an optical microscope and then we look into it. It can be easily understood. Okay, it's better. So we basically cannot use mirrors for gamma rays. Okay, so even visible light is an electromagnetic spectrum reflected by lens or mirror, but gamma rays cannot be used for the same purpose, right? Can't be used, can't. Okay, remember, for gamma rays. Okay, so what is the reason? Because of their energy, right? As their energies will get compromised when lenses are used. So what happens usually is there will be a lot of loss of energy, the focusing will not happen. Okay, and so on, because it might be absorbed by the mirror part, but visible light usually is reflected, most of it. Okay, so that's why it cannot be used. Okay, so when we basically do that, um, even if it's very difficult to focus the gamma rays, and even if we use a mirror, most of the times the intensity gets very less. So in order to observe gamma rays, we basically need to do a long observation. Okay, even if you're using something like mirror, it's not that you cannot use a mirror to focus, but then so much loss of intensity is there that we need more and more gamma rays to actually make more focus or have more intensity of the gamma rays falling on the system. Okay, so hence gamma ray images are not sharp. Okay, so detecting gamma rays and using the gamma ray after focusing it are two different parts. Okay, so that is what you have to understand here. Okay, So what about the gamma ray sources? So if you just look into the gamma ray sources, if you look into the natural sources, they are extremely weak. They are extremely weak. Okay, so you really don't have a very strong source. If you're actually having a, let's say, a nuclear power plant and you are detecting the gamma ray very close to the source, definitely it's a strong source. Okay, so basically if they are weak and if you really want to detect gamma rays, you really need to have a lot of patience and long observation time is required. Okay, so require long observation. Okay, and time for significant significant. Okay, so first you need to have a detector. Okay, and then you need to have a longer period of observation in order to detect the gamma rays. Okay, and at the same time we need to also make sure that the number of observations are more in number. Okay, so that is important. Now the question is why I really want to detect gamma rays. Okay, why detect gamma rays? Okay, there are certain stellar observation that needs to be done, and these are actually done by knowing what is the intensity of gamma ray that is coming out from there. Why detect gamma rays? Okay, so if you consider something like events like, let's say, a supernova. Okay, so supernova, or basically let's say matter falling into black holes. So when this happens, basically it will radiate. Black holes are there. Okay, this is not something which is a story, it's not a fiction. Black holes are there. And then if you look something like a supernova explosion or a meteorite, and it basically falls into the black hole, it is going to radiate a large amount of energy. Okay, it radiate large, okay, amount of energy, and this is actually something which also generates gamma ray. Okay, and this amount of energy is actually in the gamma region. So the energy that I was talking about of 100 to 1000 tera electron volt will be actually in the range of gamma region. So as soon as that much of energy is detected from a supernova explosion or a matter falling into the black hole, we can straight away say, or let's take it the other way, that we get some gamma rays, we know there's something has happened. Okay, which is actually having this much of release of energy, and this only happens, this much of energy is released, this is a signature of a supernova explosion or matter falling into the black hole. Okay, so you know uh, gamma if we use techniques like gamma ray detectors, okay, they have actually helped us to reveal a lot of information. Okay, so gamma ray detector revealed discoveries like gamma ray burst. So with these supernova explosions and all, there is something which happens which is called the gamma ray bursts, and these were actually detected and established by using the gamma ray detectors. Okay, long back when the scientific instruments were not that much developed, people didn't knew that there was radiation and gamma ray coming out of supernova explosion, but then with gamma ray detectors this was actually possible to do. So what happened usually was that whenever you know what kind of radiation or what kind of particles are coming out of a system, sometimes we can actually easily say that what will be the system made of. So even if it is very difficult to go, you cannot really go into the stars and measure its component. Okay, what are its component? We can actually look into these kind of phenomenon and try to understand that what are the uh, basic composition. Okay, so you have a gamma ray, that means there are chances that there will be elementary particle, there will be processes like annihilation happening and so on. Okay, based on which we'll basically have the gamma ray.